Welcome, boils and ghouls, to the Critique Podcast. My name's Kenny, and I'm here with my co-host, Godden. And together, we're here to watch and review every horrific, often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. And here we are. Godden, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this episode for an interesting reason. Let me just go right out and say, actually, wait a minute. Hold on. Stop the phones. Okay, let's stop the phones. I almost gave too much away. Let's start off by at least saying that today we are here to talk about Season 3, Episode 5, Top Billing. It aired on June 26th, 1991, and it comes to us from the Vault of Horror. Have we had a Vault of Horror episode yet this season?
I think last episode...
Let me check on that.
That might have been a Tales of the Crypt, actually.
Oh, yeah, this is our first Vault of Horror in this season so far. Okay. Yes, it is. Yeah, our first Vault of Horror. Oh, and you know what? Actually, now that I look at it, oh my gosh. Episode 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all Vault of Horrors. So we're in for a Vault of Horror Welcome to episode 1 of the Vault of Horror extravaganza in season 3. So yeah, we have quite a few Vault of Horror episodes coming up next. Okay, so what was I going to say? I was going to say I'm looking forward to this episode because, not necessarily because I liked it. I didn't think it was that great of an episode. But I am looking forward to the very end of the episode. Godden, we have gotten a lot of correspondence to go through. So I'm looking forward to that spot. We have a few people who've commented, who've never commented before, and I'm looking forward to hearing from them as well. So stay tuned to the end of this episode to hear some of the correspondence. We got some great correspondence out there.
I'm excited to see who are the newcomers and the new faces for the culture vultures, such as ourselves. So it'll be fun.
Right. So this episode stars Jon Lovits, by the way.
Jon Lovits.
I am a fan of Jon Lovits. I like him. I like a lot of his movies. So I was looking forward to this episode because of that. And well, we'll get to it. Before we do get there, I do want to say that we are not experts. We are just a couple of hobbyists. We enjoy watching this show. We enjoy getting together once a week to actually chat about it. So this is something that Godden and I would be doing regardless of having an audience. So the fact that we could do this with an audience is extraordinary. So if you want to chime in, if you agree with something that we say, if you disagree with something that we say, or if you notice something else that we didn't say, I want you to comment down below so we can actually increase our correspondence. I love building a community around this. It's very exciting to me and to Godden. And finally, spoiler warning, we're going to be going into great detail on this episode. So if you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to have the surprise of watching it for the first time without having us telling you all about it, then go watch the episode on your own and then come back and you can hear us go on about it. So Godden, let's go on about it.
Let's go on. I'm excited.
This came out June 26, 1991. Godden, tell us, what was happening in the world the week of June 26, 1991 that might be on our radar and that might be on our subconscious level while we sit down to watch this episode?
Yeah, if you were tuning in for the show back in the day, there were also 4 movies that were out during the week of. There was one called Without Warning, the James Brady story. I don't think I've seen that one. Another one called Dying Young. Do you know that one?
No. So far I'm striking out here.
The following one is a Walt Disney called The Rocketeer.
I'm still striking out.
No.
And I'm a Disney fan. That's not really hitting hard for me.
There's another movie that also came out called Where Angels Fear to Tread. And then lastly, one of the bigger names that I am more familiar with is The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear.
There we go. Now we're talking. I would have gone to the theaters to watch that back in the day. Huge Leslie Nielsen fan here, and I loved Naked Gun, the first one. So I would have loved to go watch the second one in theaters. Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. All right, so that sounds like a fun week then, right? Go to the theaters, watch yourself something nice and funny, and then come home and snuggle up for a nice scary movie, maybe or a scary TV show. Maybe by the fireplace, right? A nice romantic evening with the Crypt Keeper. All right, here we go. What does the back of the DVD box set have to say about this episode? Top billing. A tale of burning. Oh, I see. They did a little, I wasn't expecting this pun in here. A tale of burning ambition. A struggling actor's rehearsal for a role in Hamlet isn't what he thinks.
But I do like the pun of the ambition.
Yeah. Yeah. Ambitious Hamlet rendition. Well, here's one that I came up with. And Godden, you'll always let me know if I give away too much. Sometimes I just can't help myself and I just give way too much away. So, struggling actor Barry Blye can't catch a break. He's being turned down at auditions for no longer having, quote, the face. And even his agent thinks it's time for him to move on. So when Barry hears about a local production of Hamlet, he becomes desperate to land the role of a lifetime and prove everyone wrong. But when the part goes to another actor simply for being more handsome, Barry snaps, taking matters into his own hands with deadly determination. Soon, however, Barry discovers that the role isn't exactly what he expected.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, wasn't too much?
It wasn't too much. It definitely had more sentences. It had a good amount of sentences, but it's like, it didn't give away anything. It's like, you really just kind of nailed it home. I like that. You're getting better at these, honestly.
I love your feedback. It had a good amount of sentences.
Well, because I was trying to say is like, when some things look too wordy, I was worried that there's gonna be too much, given out, but you really did not. Like you pretty much. It was very like, yeah, it's simple. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything that might sound bad, but I'm trying to compliment it.
Okay, I'll take the compliment.
It's a good paragraph. Yeah.
I'll take my compliment. Good amount of words. I'll take it. All right. I'm still auditioning, by the way, for my future career as a TV show synopsis writer.
I mean, you're cultivating it right now. So, yeah,
going in loosely, okay, I kind of let the cat out of the bag. I'm sorry. I sometimes I get ahead of myself with talking. This episode really didn't do it for me, even though I was looking forward to it. I'm a big Jon Lovits fan, so when I saw his name on the title, I was super excited. And I got to tell you, the episode, it was not awful. But it wasn't a good episode for me. I'll just leave it at that. Godden, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I think the difference is that there wasn't a lot of Kenny moments. I could see it was a lot more dialogue based for sure. Like this was just snappy comebacks or just funny lines that they kept throwing back and forth. But there wasn't really the Tales from the Crypt atmosphere. The Vault from Horror atmosphere of like it being gritty or just dark or anything like that. It was pretty simple with a good twist. I did enjoy the twist the second time. And this was actually one of the first episodes we've ever seen. When you first showed me Tales from the Crypt. So it was fun to kind of get that rewatch realistically.
Oh,
yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. So, and we'll get into it as we get into it. I don't want to give too much away up front. So as the episode opens up, we get the Crypt Keeper and he is like, reading all of these, old time Shakespearean plays, and you hear the old time Shakespearean music playing in the background. He says, "Good evening, culture vultures, and welcome to another installment of Mash to Pieces Theater." Right, instead of the masterpiece theater that it's going for. Tonight we ask the question, to be or not to be, or in this case, an actor stuck with an average face who's so sick and tired of auditioning, he's willing to do almost anything. Did I say almost? I call this sickening saga top billing. That was an all right intro.
Yeah, but he looked very dapper in his...
oh, that's right. He was wearing a tux.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he was wearing a tux in that one. I do like that they suit him up in different outfits sometimes.
It is fun.
And the opening panel. This is it's Jon Lovits strangling another man on a stage, and you can tell that they even have the director in the background there holding up the skull, giving that famous Hamlet to be or not to be speech, which is, I mean, it happens in the episode. John Lovitz' character does strangle this man like this, but it's not on the stage. It's just back in an office, or back in like a dressing room. So there is a little bit of differences, but it pretty much hits the all the pieces of the episode, right? We got a big play going on. We got Hamlet. We got murder with a rope, right?
I agree. It's so funny to see the contrast between like the first couple seasons, or I guess season 1, with how much colors they use now for these panels. It used to be like 3 to 5 simple colors, and now they really go all out with just having all the small details and shading and everything else.
Oh yeah,
it just gets progressively better.
I guess I didn't notice that, but yeah, they do have a lot more vivid colors, and this one's pretty brightly lit.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of leads into my issue with the episode. If you look at this, there's murder, which sounds exciting, right? And his menacing face, right? This all looks pretty brutal, but there's no blood, there's no gore, there's no. It's very PG horror to me.
It's too tame for Kenny.
So scene 1, we open up on it's a casting room. It's a what do you call this person who does the casting? The producer of some sort of movie or something? I don't know. Whoever's the casting director is in her office and she's on a call. Does he still have a drug problem? I was told he was finished with rehab, but then I heard he was not. Yeah, sure, I dated him, but that was a whole lifetime ago, before all this drug stuff. Yeah, he was okay in bed. I mean, he wasn't great, but who is? I like this opening dialogue a lot. This part really showcases what I think this episode does really well, and that is these almost like free-form dialogues. I'm willing to say that this was not part of the script. I'm willing to say they gave her a phone and just said, go for it, right? And just say whatever you want to say. Because it seemed to me like whatever she was saying was just kind of off the cuff. It didn't seem very scripted. It just seemed like she was kind of winging it. And I enjoyed it. I thought she did pretty good with this scene. So
yeah, she was fun.
So after this, the John Lovitz character walks in and she says, Leon, what are you doing here? And he takes rope and he wraps it around her neck to strangle her. And he basically like places his hands on her shoulders and gives her a little bit of a shake as if he's trying to kill her. And she's looking at him like, oh no, please don't. What did you think on this part? Did you think he was trying to kill her, or what did you think?
Yeah, initially it did seem like yeah, right off the episode start where we're getting like the murder, like Carry On Death, how it just starts off like with violence. So I kind of thought that was also happening, but then I realized like, yeah, he's just doing a casting part, because he did look pretty menacing as he walked in, like something was up. But maybe that's just how bad of an actor he's portrayed. Because John Lovitz is not a bad actor, but his character is.
Yeah, you brought that up while watching the episode, and when you mentioned it, I realized he is good at. He's good enough at acting to where when he's acting badly, it looks like he's acting badly. Like I just thought that was pretty good. So yeah, he's supposed to be acting for this part. Sheila, the woman, is not impressed, and she basically tells him, "No, you're not right for the part." And he goes, "What? What's wrong? I could do it." And she goes, "No, you're not. I want somebody heavier." And he goes, "I can wear padding." And she goes, "Not heavier, bigger, and more tan." So he's not getting this part. He doesn't look right for the role, basically, is what's going on. So he leaves. And I love this. When he leaves her office, there's like a whole line of men in line waiting to strangle her. They all have the rope and they're all like practicing their lines, like what they're going to do when they go in.
It's so good. It's like, it's so funny and cheesy at the same time. It's a good cheesy.
I like how as soon as he walked out the door, the first person in line after him was much taller than him. And she was just saying how she wants somebody taller. And you can see in John Lovett's face, like, oh, damn it, he's going to get the part.
I didn't notice actually that his reaction. But yeah, the guy next to him looked pretty big. But he looked also kind of nerdy. Yeah, like the big, thick glasses. I remember that.
Yeah, a lot of the guys looked kind of on the nerdy side.
Yeah.
So as he's making his way out of the building, he stops by the elevator, and then that's where he meets, I guess it's an old friend. I think it's an old roommate, actually, because they kind of introduce themselves a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, how is that old place that we used to live at?" And he goes, "I'm still living there. Like I'm still stuck in the past, and you're kind of moving on doing big things." Oh, by the way, I should also mention this guy is much taller, much more handsome than John Lovitz, right? So there's some tension between these two men. They're both actors, but this guy, his name's Winton, by the way. So Winton is a quote unquote actor, right? He's getting paid to act. But from Barry's point of view, Winton only acts in like, commercials, and just basically he gets roles because he's a good looking guy, and he doesn't get roles because he's a good actor. And even Winton admits this. He's like, yeah, nobody wants somebody who can act. They just want somebody with good looks. It's all about getting people in the door. It's all about selling tickets. He even admits, yeah, I do commercials. I made $50,000 last year on commercials. So this Winton guy is not shying away from the fact that he's a bad actor. He only gets roles because he's good looking, and at least he's making money. Like he's seeing the good side in it. But of course, Barry is all about acting as an art, and he won't have any of that. So Barry's going to try out for Hamlet. He says, this is a role that only actors can get. So I'm going to prove myself, and I'm going to go get the role of Hamlet.
I really enjoyed when they first bumped into each other again. And he's like, "Oh, how's Lisa?" And then John Lovitz just goes, "Still the best thing that ever happened to me." Like nothing about her, just like, yeah, the best thing still. Clinging on to that. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Never mind about how Lisa is. Just she's the best thing that ever happened to me. The next scene is Barry going to his agent to try to get this Hamlet role. And even his agent is like, "Look, you don't have the look. Okay. I've tried to get you the look. I booked an appointment for you with the plastic surgeon." And again, Barry's like, "I don't want to go to a plastic surgeon. I want to be me, and I want my artistic acting to speak for itself." But that doesn't work, though. In Hollywood today, or in the film industry in the time of this episode, that's not how it works. People just want the good looks. And this poor John Lovitz character, who's not the most good-looking guy, is not getting these roles. So at this point, Barry agrees, I'll go get the role myself. I'll get this myself.
I was actually thinking, because towards the end of that scene, he was getting upset, and he's trying to scare her in a way. I forgot the exact lines, because it was during when she was flossing her teeth, and she had like no reaction. It's kind of like the first scene with the casting agent when he's trying to be menacing, but it just wasn't working. So I couldn't tell if like he was trying to act upset, or if he really just was upset and just could not portray it. I didn't know if that was maybe just an acting issue for him, or he just sucked at portraying his emotions, to people. So I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I took that as he was really upset, but she just didn't care. But it was funny. Yeah. I didn't mention that, but yeah, she just starts flossing her teeth.
Yeah.
And again, I wonder if that was part of the script. I wonder if it said in there somewhere that she starts flossing her teeth, or she just, as an actress, just decided, I'm going to start flossing my teeth right now just to show how unaffected I am by this man being upset. So I love this next scene, by the way, when Barry goes back to his apartment. He's hiking up this flight of stairs, and he sees that somebody is using the elevator to move a bunch of furniture. He's like, "Couldn't you use a freight elevator? I had to walk up all these stairs. Hey, wait a minute. That stuff's mine." And he runs and he finds out that they're actually lugging stuff out of his apartment. And Lisa's there, the best thing that ever happened to him. And we learn that she's leaving him. She's basically leaving him, and she's taking enough of his stuff to pay her back for what he owes her. So she's leaving him. She's taking his stuff. And not only that, but he's being evicted. So everything that could be going wrong is going wrong for this poor guy. I also love that old man that's just walking back and forth, helping himself to things that are berries. He's taking out just random, lights and stuff. And he's even getting into his fridge and like taking food out and just walking out. And he says, "You are a loser."
Yeah, I didn't understand that scene as much, like of him getting evicted, because she met a new guy, like Bruno or whatever it was, and yeah, he's supposed to be like way more tall and more handsome looking, and she met him at class, but Bruno and the landlord were just eating chicken legs or chicken wings or whatever it was, drumsticks. Just like what was happening? Were they just like happy he was getting evicted and they just started eating chicken together, and then they're just slowly moving his stuff out? Like, I don't understand that part, but it looked like maybe literally everyone on set was just just do what you want to do. But the main part of the story is that he is a terrible actor and he wants to make him feel like he is a bad actor or something. Just, yeah, if you guys want to have just chicken on set, go for it. But I don't understand that part. Like, they were all just nonchalantly like having a party or something before he got home.
Yeah, I got the impression it was just leftover chicken that he had that everybody just helped themselves to. And she even says on her way out, Lisa says, I left you some chicken.
Okay, I see.
My favorite character, by the way, is in this scene is that guy going back and forth. You are a loser.
Yeah, I think that might be the landlord. I think you're right.
I think that was the landlord, actually.
Yeah, I think
it was the landlord. Because he's the one who shuts the door that reveals the eviction notice.
Yeah, I think he locked it, yeah.
Yeah, so I got the impression he was the one who locked the door and then shut it. And then he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that he was evicted. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that he's eating his chicken. He's just going back and forth shouting, you are a loser. Oh, before we get any farther, I just want to say, that's my shriek of the week. You are a loser. This might be my favorite line in the whole episode. Okay, so his agent dumped him, right? His girlfriend dumped him. He's evicted. All he's got left now at this point is just to try out for the role of Hamlet. So he goes down to the theater, which is at the very end of a very dark, gross alley. He finally gets to the door of the theater and he sees Winton there. I almost called him Winston. It's not Winston, it's Winton. So he's like, what are you doing here? He goes, I'm trying out for a Hamlet. I just want to prove you wrong. Because Winton now, I think, is also kind of offended that he's not seen as a good actor. He only gets roles because he looks good. So now Winton wants to try to show that he can also get a role like Hamlet. So they knock on the door together. And then I just described this person as a thespian, opens up the door and he's like, hello, are you here to audition for Hamlet?
He is my favorite character. Other than the director, he's actually my favorite character of this episode. He's just so funny. He just, every time, he had a line, he just kills it.
Yeah, he did good. Again, I wonder how much of his lines were scripted versus how much did he just kind of, wing it. So yeah, I got the sense that the actors in this episode had a lot of fun filming this. It seemed to me like a lot of people were just kind of going off the cuff, saying whatever they wanted to say, and just kind of building a scene kind of naturally. So I definitely got that sense from this episode. So for that, I did enjoy this episode. So this thespian character, I guess he's like a stagehand because he's not really. He's not definitely not the director. He's not an actor. He's just kind of there, kind of doing little jobs around. So this guy brings them into the state to the stage, I guess you call it, to the theater, and that's where you see this like the best way I can describe him is up on stage. It's like this ditzy stoner dude holding up a plastic skull, and he's basically auditioning for the part of Hamlet, and he's delivering his lines just in a very kind of surfer dude bro kind of a way. And then in comes the director. No, it's all wrong. And he charges up on stage and he says to him, Hamlet is holding in his hands the skull of Yorick. He sees what 20 years rotting in the ground has done to his friend, and that is why he's so upset. And the dude's like, who, Yorick? No, you dunce, Hamlet. Again, I could just see these guys having so much fun, really, really hamming it up with these lines. He says, you pick up the skull, you look at it, you talk to it, you kiss it, mwah, 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 and he starts kissing it. And then the guy auditioning for Hamlet's like, but it's plastic.
Yeah, I think just thinking about that scenes, like I think you're right. I think a lot of it was just kind of they were just given like kind of foundational lines, and they just kind of winged like a good portion of like the scenes. Like it just felt too loose. Nothing seemed too strict with like what they had to say. It was all just like, yeah, if you're feeling that way, just let it out.
Yeah, loose is a good way to put it. Yeah, that definitely felt very loose. A lot of the scenes in this, and also, and he says, once they kind of break, because he basically tells this guy who's auditioning for Hamlet, just you're done, go away, right? And when everybody's kind of standing around waiting for the next thing to happen, I love how the director just starts demanding everyone around him begin acting. He yells at like this guy beside him, like, "You act." He goes, "But I don't have any lines." And he goes, "Living is acting. Breathing is acting. What are you supposed to be doing? Digging? Then dig." And he just forces the guy just to start acting like he's digging a hole.
Oh yeah, because that scene also had the I forgot what the director was asking for, but then the stage hand just starts saying searching, searching, and he's like annoyed, like I'm searching.
I do remember that. Searching.
He's a good character because I'm beginning to remember the small details why I liked him was before they enter the theater, because John Lovitz' character goes in first, and then as soon as Winton was about to enter, he didn't like size him up, but he like squeezes him into the doorway as well because I guess he wanted to like cop a feel in a way, and then after he did, it's like, ouch. He was such a fun character.
So the director at this point calls Winton and Barry to his office. Basically, you two come to my office. And I love when they go to the office, by the way. They're in a broom closet or like a mop closet.
Yeah, it was like next to the toilet.
It was next to the toilet too, yeah. You even hear like the toilet flushing sometimes in the scene. So they go in here and it's such a cramped space. Everybody's like so close next to each other. And the lamp is hanging down so low that it keeps knocking against their heads. It's such an awkward moment. But it's so funny because they're in clearly a closet, right? It's gross in there. But this does not stop the director from he's just so noble about everything he's doing. He says, "Do you know who I am? I am Nelson Halliwell, director of stage and screen." Barry, at this point, starts to tell him, like, "I'm here for Hamlet. Here's I guess he gives him a resume. He says, I have done extensive research. I know the whole role by heart." He's like really eager. The director replies, "We are planning the most stunning rendition of Hamlet ever. I want to bring to the stage a Hamlet that will look and feel and be so real that the people will stumble from their seats, tumble from the theater, their minds reeling, and retch their guts onto the curb." I just love how much this guy gives to this role. It's so funny.
He's a passionate director, honestly.
Yeah. And at this point, Winton says, "I'm out. It's all yours, Barry. Break a leg. In fact, break two." At this point, when Winton is about to leave, the director says, "Wait! Your face, the cheekbones, the fair skin, slightly frosted hair. You must be Danish." "Actually, I'm Polish." "Perfect! I knew it!" He says, "The part is yours." And at this point, Barry's like, "Wait a minute. You can't just hire this guy. He can't act. How can you cast him as Hamlet?" And then the director says the most hurtful words to him. "He has the look." So again, it reinforces this whole idea that's been going on in this episode that it doesn't matter your ability to act. It doesn't matter your ability to express yourself in this the world of acting and movies and whatnot. It's all about your looks. So this is, close to the final straw for Barry, which brings us to the next scene. So we have Winton in the dressing room getting ready for his, wardrobe change and everything. And I actually really like this moment. So Barry comes in, he sneaks in as Winton is getting dressed. He takes the rope. He takes a piece of rope from the hanger, and he's quoting Hamlet while he's doing this. He comes up as if he's going to strangle Winton from behind, but then he pauses and he has doubt. And I love, are you familiar with Hamlet, by the way?
It's been a while since I pretty much read this story in high school.
Okay.
But yeah, there are some deals definitely I left out.
This moment here really parallels Hamlet, and I thought they did a beautiful job with this. So in Hamlet, Hamlet is planning on killing his uncle, and he approaches his uncle from behind, and he's getting ready to do the deed. He's getting ready to take him out, but he can't do it because the uncle is praying in a church. He says, I can't kill somebody when they're praying to God, right? So he has doubts. He actually can't do it. He has to back off and hold off on doing that. And in this episode, right, Barry has the rope. He's ready to do it, but then he has doubts and he has to kind of back away from it. So I thought, oh my God, this is like really, really nicely done. I kind of like what they're doing here. But then, of course, Winton can't help but gloat about how he's got the role, and it really eggs Barry on, and Barry just finally grabs the rope and just goes for it. And he takes out Winton in a scene that I felt needed a lot more blood, Godden. This is so boring to me to watch this. I really was I thought they did a great job with this, and I thought they were really going to go over the top with the grotesqueness and the gore, and it was so tame. I was really disappointed with this part.
Every time I watch an episode, and I don't think there's enough gore or kind of like, brutality, I'm like, yeah, I'm not too sure if this would be a good episode for Kenny.
So after he kills him, Barry kind of, collects the things and he goes to leave, but when he goes to leave, the phone starts ringing in the office. And this is where we get our first little hint that something else might be going on. The door's locked, or is the door? I don't remember if the door's locked, actually. I don't even think Barry tries to open the door. He just leaves. But then we see through the keyhole of the door that the phone's ringing, and there's a person sitting next to the phone who's just sitting there, and they're not really moving. So something's going on, right? There's something how does it go in Hamlet? Something is something in the how does it go?
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
So yeah, something's rotten in the state of this theater and everything that's going on. Okay, something's going on. At this point, Barry goes back to the stage and basically tells the director that Winton has gotten the worst case of stage fright he'd ever seen. He went blue. That's what he says. He went blue. The director then is worried about, who's going to play the character. And Barry says, well, I can do it. He goes, no, you can't do it. Wait a minute. If I make some changes, yes, you can. It's you. So it was that easy. So Barry gets the part. Barry goes back into the dressing room to get dressed. So he starts getting all suited up. He starts practicing his lines. And at this point, the rest of the crew all come into the dressing room and basically says, are you ready? Come on out. He goes, I'm not ready. I haven't practiced my lines yet. You can't expect me, just to be Hamlet that quickly. And they go, wait, who said you were Hamlet? And that's where that ditzy stoner dude comes back. I love this part, by the way. He comes back, he says, I'm Hamlet. Didn't you see me holding that plastic skull? So I love that we had an introduction to him to really portray how awful that some of these actors are, only to finally reveal that, no, he was just fine for the role of Hamlet. He actually got the part. So this is where he checks the tag of his outfit that he's wearing, and he holds it up. He reads the tag, and it says that he's Yorick. He says, but Yorick's been dead for 20 years. The director says, yeah, someone keeps stealing the skull. And at this point, they all kind of surround him, and they tell him, put this bag over your head, and he's like, you guys are crazy. So he runs away. He locks himself in that office where that phone was ringing. And this is where you get the big reveal. The person next to the phone was dead the whole time. And as Barry looks around, he sees that everybody's dead. The person dead by the phone had a shirt on, and the name tag on the shirt said the Teasdale Home for the Criminally Insane. So all the staff at this criminal sanitarium are dead. So basically what happened was you have these criminally insane lunatics kill all of their orderlies and just put on a stage show for Hamlet just because they want basically they want to get the skull for Yorick to so Hamlet can be performed. So finally all the crew break into the office and kill Barry with an axe. And I got to tell you, Godden, not enough blood.
Not enough for you. No,
there was none. It was ridiculous. They break in, Barry screams towards the camera and they swing the axe behind him. We immediately go to black and it goes to the next scene. Completely lackluster death. But I guess the skull at the very end was pretty cool. You got to see the skull that they used from John Lovitz from Barry. Even had a little eye stuck in the socket. And I love when the actor playing Hamlet, he says, "Alas, poor Yorick," and he kisses the skull. That was a nice little touch, because remember in the beginning when he didn't want to kiss the skull, and he says, "But it's plastic." And then at the very end, when it's a real skull, he has no trouble kissing it. So that's a nice little Easter egg there. He didn't want to kiss the skull because it was plastic. He wanted to kiss the real skull.
Because he's insane. They're all deranged lunatics.
I thought that was nice. That was a nice touch.
It was a nice touch.
And the final scene is we're back in the alley, and the cops are approaching, and they're breaking in to basically swarm the place. And that's when the camera kind of goes down towards the trash, and you see Barry's face has actually been torn off of his skull and is sitting there in the trash. So a couple little moments, like with the skull and with the skin of the face, nice little practical effects here and there, but for the most part, completely lackluster on the horror and the gore. I was really let down. Very dialogue heavy. Now the dialogue, a lot of it was kind of fun and funny, but not enough to really pique my interest. I wanted more action and I wanted more horror. I didn't get either one of those things. So we cut back to the Crypt Keeper, who says, "Bravo, encore! Well, Barry axed for the part and got it. But typical Barry, they still couldn't use his face. It's just as well. The critics would have cut him to pieces. I'm calling my agent. I waited all my death to play the part of Yorick. So until next time, kiddies." Then he gets that phone call. "Hello, I'd like to speak with my agent." "What do you mean he's in a beating?" Godden, how do you feel about the episode?
I liked it. I know a lot of your biggest takeaways would be the gore aspect of it, but I didn't enjoy the dialogue, and I really enjoyed the twist. Like, I really was not expecting them to be all lunatics just hosting a play. And it kind of makes sense looking back, because when you look at that the pamphlet for auditioning, it was just like written like a psychopath. It was just like random squiggles, like says Hamlet. It wasn't like a professional, theater play that looks very neat. So, I mean, it was because when you watch it, you don't expect these characters to be lunatics. They just seem like very lively. So for them to actually just be like criminally insane, it was also just, who would have thought that? You have not thought that from the beginning at all.
Yeah, very eccentric, but you wouldn't expect them to be lunatics. Yeah, there were quite a few Easter eggs, like when he was telling Winton that he wanted to do Hamlet. Winton looked at the little flyer, and he said, "At this alley, is there even a theater there?" Well, it turns out there wasn't a theater there. It was an insane asylum. So yeah, there were a few little Easter eggs here and there that kind of let you know what was going on by the end, but. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Well, I am
not a huge fan of this episode. But in terms of there being like, crazy people trying to put on a charade like they're, like they're not crazy, trying to lure in people. Can you think of any other movies or shows that do something like that?
The only thing I can think of where like the twist is like, oh, they're like insane or they're stuck in a insane asylum is, well, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because he was trying to say that he isn't insane.
Right.
And 12 Monkeys, he was just crazy the whole entire time. He didn't actually like time travel or anything like that.
Oh, and I've never actually watched 12 Monkeys.
Oh, Bruce Willis is pretty good in that one. It's our Sucker Punch. If you've ever seen Sucker Punch, I think they were all in an insane asylum or some sort of like asylum, and they were just trying to escape because they didn't belong there in that sense.
Uh-huh.
I'm just thinking like, I guess like escaping the asylum because like they technically escaped by killing all the staff and just they had the freedom to make their own play. Like they got to do what they wanted. That's probably why they killed the staff. They probably were denied to make the play. They're like, oh no, we can't have you guys have that kind of fun. And then they just, they're like, no, we want our fun. So that's probably how it came to be. Oh, I said, I haven't seen American Psycho, but was there like a moment kind of like that? Because it kind of gives me that vibe that it could fit, but I'm just winging the idea that it could be there.
Because American Psycho was like the opposite type of twist. That was you think he's crazy the whole time, but then you think he's murdering people the whole time, but at the end you find out that it's all just in his mind. So I guess you find out he's not a murderer, he's just crazy. I guess that's kind of a parallel, but that's definitely an interesting one. Well, what about, have you seen Last Action Hero?
No, I have not.
It's a Schwarzenegger flick, and Schwarzenegger plays an actor, right, who's playing a Schwarzenegger type character. And one of the movies that Schwarzenegger gets is Hamlet. He plays Hamlet. But of course, it's done in a way that's like a total action movie. And kind of, I guess, making a slapstick mockery of Hamlet is done in that as well. That's kind of neat. All right. So for scoring on this episode, I got to tell you, talking about this episode with you has gotten, it's kind of lightened me up a bit. Maybe I was being a little bit too difficult with the episode. Because when I was coming into this episode, I was really thinking I was probably going to be like in the ones somewhere. Like it was kind of a drab episode for me, kind of boring. I'm going to improve my score from where I thought it would be, but not by much, Godden. I'm going to give it a 2.5. 2.5. You're a losers.
I like that. I'm glad you upped the rating a little bit. I mean, it did feel like it was a little too harsh with your rating. I was like, really, a 1? And then when you were talking about it as we're doing this take, I was like, yeah, he seems to be throwing a lot of positives. I feel like it shouldn't be a 1 after all of this.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue was funny and clever and witty, but I don't think that was a strength of the script. I think that was a strength of the actors, like, winging it. Like, you could tell they had fun making this episode, but it's not, I don't think it's a very well put together episode. It's like, for instance, when he killed Winton, there could have been a really fun montage of him trying to hide the body in the trash can and then trying to hide the body in a cupboard somewhere. Like that could have been a whole to-do or something, or just having more splatter and blood effects could have been a lot of fun. He could have killed him with a knife or he could have tried the poison. He could have put poison in his ear, like in Hamlet, and then maybe something could have melted off the side of his face. I don't know. They could have done a lot more to make this a lot more grotesque. And it was a very watered down experience.
Well, I'm kind of glad you gave it a 2.5 because I gave it a 3. I'll do 3 York skulls. So I'm glad that it's not that far off, from the original score that I was going to give.
Okay, 3 York skulls. All right. Well, there you go. 2.5 and a 3 for an average of 2.75. Not a great episode. I wouldn't necessarily be excited about watching it again or even showing it to people. This might be one that we skip unless you're a huge John Lovett fan. In that case, give it a try. But, it's all right. It's all right. I'm excited, though, at this point to get into our correspondence. Godden, we have gotten a lot of correspondence since last week. And I think a lot of this had to do with the fact that we dropped 3 episodes all at once for our season premiere. That's a lot of episodes for people to be watching through and then commenting on. So I'm excited about getting to these comments. Okay, so let me go through some of our first-time commenters first, because this is what I'm really excited about. First time hearing from SCL8294. I just think that's SCL. We'll call him SCL. SCL writes regarding the episode The Man Who Was Death, which was the very first episode from season 1. So this is going way back. He says, I didn't like this episode as a kid, but now it's top 5. I love the dialogue and Sadler's performance. 100% agreed, SCL. I remember I had mentioned, Godden, when we were going back to watch that episode, I was not looking forward to going back and watching that particular episode. But as I was making notes for the episode, it took me a long time to get through that episode because I kept having to pause it to write down more quotes. Such chilling, haunting dialogue he had. Remember that one moment when he said, they say that a man dies instantly in the electric chair and he doesn't even feel the current going through him? And then he says, I'd hate if that was true. Remember that? Like all kinds of, even the bartender in that scene. Remember that?
I'm trying to remember because there's been so many episodes with good dialogue that I'm getting it like kind of mishmashed.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one. Man Who Was Death. I know that you're not the biggest fan of that episode. And I liked a lot of the dialogue. So yeah, I totally agree, SEL. Yeah, great comment. Thank you for coming through and welcome aboard, by the way. Another first time comment, the Jamarian, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He writes regarding the episode, our introduction episode, actually.
Oh, so, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Godden, you remember you had mentioned that your favorite horror franchise was Child's Play, or at least that was your introduction.
The first 3, yeah.
And trilogy, he says, Godden, as another guy who loved Child's Play as a kid, I was delighted to find out that the eyes they used for the Crypt Keeper were the exact same ones used for Chucky from Child's Play. Now, this is the great thing about doing this podcast, this is something that we learned going through the episodes. Other people had also commented this, so this is something that we learned. So the Jamarian, thanks a lot for that tidbit of information. I think that's so cool. I'm also a Child's Play fan, definitely the first 3. That was kind of your start on some of these getting yourself into horror. So very, very cool connection. I loved it. I think it's great. And I think those eyes should be used in more things. What if they use those eyes in that Annabelle doll? Wouldn't that be super cool?
Yeah, but they would need what was his name? The guy who made the animatronics for Chucky and... Is
it the Yeager guy?
The Crypt. Yeah, something Yeager.
Yeah.
Dave Yeager? Something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mr. Yeager. Yeah.
Mr. Yeager.
If they hired him, I'm sure he would have done the same thing, but more like modernized Chucky eye.
It'd be very, very cool to keep that going. To keep that whole, the eyes of a doll going for multiple characters. That'd be a lot of fun. We also have a first time comment from Iron Sabbath, and he writes saying, love the podcast. I personally like episodes that have dark twists more. So I rate Dead Right and Three's a Crowd pretty highly. So yeah, the dark twists. I like the dark twists too. And you mentioned Three's a Crowd. Three's a Crowd is one of those episodes that I think is a good episode. I think that's the one where he finds out his wife's pregnant after he kills her. It's so dark. When I say it, I have to laugh because it's just so dark. So I think it's a well done episode. It's all the way through. It's a good episode. It's entertaining. It's got the right amount of pacing. I like it. It's good. It's just too dark. It's too dark for me to really get into. So that one, I think, crosses a line that I'm not comfortable with, but I can see why people really, really like that episode. I think it's a well-paced episode, and it definitely has a very shocking twist.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed Dead Right because that was a premiere, wasn't it?
That was part of a premiere, yeah. That was season 2, either episode 1, 2, or 3. I think maybe even 1.
Yeah. No, I remember liking Dead Right a lot. And for Three's a Crowd, I enjoyed it, but the ending is the one that really made me just love the episode a little bit more because it was pretty dark. I was like, oh, she was pregnant. No, so I'm glad we have some viewers too that are enjoying the episodes, and they're also sharing their experience with it. So
yeah,
it's fun.
Absolutely. No, it's great. I love this. This is one of my favorite parts of each episode is going through the correspondence. Iron Sabbath also writes regarding Carry On Death. Love this episode. Kyle MacLachlan is a one-man show and he steals it. Amazing, gory ending too, which I know Kenny appreciated. Yes, yes, and yes. Yeah, that was a great episode. Carry On Death's one of my favorites. That's one of those ones where, months, even years later, when you think of Tales from the Crypt, it's those types of episodes for me that kind of float to the surface, right? Oh, by the way, you see what I'm wearing?
Oh, look at that.
Merry Christmas.
Season 1 favorite.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm wearing my my All Through the House shirt. So episodes like this, All Through the House is another one of my favorite episodes. It's those types of episodes that really stand the test of time, where years later, when you think back, those are the ones that come right back to my memory. What do you call it? The vulture eating his eye out while he's alive definitely sticks with me. Absolutely sticks with me. So that's a really good ending. Another first-time commenter we're hearing from Big Bad Bon, who writes regarding Loved to Death. He says, there was no urgency in the story. Maybe if they made Miranda super obsessive to the point that she was offing people in Edward's sphere to have all of his attention, it could spice up this story. I mean, it's Tales from the Crypt. Let's get a body count. Big Bad, I love this. This is a great comment. I agree. That was just a lackluster episode, especially for a premiere. This is the one where he gives her the potion. She absolutely falls in love with him and won't leave him alone. He kills himself, and then she ends up killing herself so she can go be with him in heaven. Remember this one?
Oh, yeah.
So,
yes, that's what it was.
I agree. They could have done a lot with this episode to make it a lot more fun. And I could imagine her becoming a serial killer in order to be closer to him. That would have been a fun twist on that one too. And another first-time commenter we're hearing from Justin Reyna. Justin Reyna writes regarding, again, this is Love to Death. He says, hey guys, how you doing? Love the channel. Thank you very much, by the way. Okay, this is the second episode in this series to use the love potion trope. I refer to this episode as when roofing goes wrong. He goes on to say the comic version is pretty much the same as the episode with a couple of deviations. So we're not reading the comics as we go through this. So unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know. There is another podcast out there, though. We're not ready for shout outs yet, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because, Justin, you kind of brought this up. The Crypt Keepers podcast. If you're interested in comparing more closely the episode with the comic, the Crypt Keepers podcast will actually give a overview of the episode and review it. And then they'll also go and do an overview of the comic and review it, and then they'll compare the two. So if you want more in-depth with the comics, you can go that route as well. So Justin, thank you for that.
I was going to say, I liked Big Bad Bond's second comment for Love to Death, where he states that there's a fun fact about the comics that inspired the episode, where the guy who gives the main character the potion, he did it when he was hustling, and he would sell the love potions for $1 and the poison for $1,000 or whatever it would have been back in the 50s. So that's crazy that was like an inspired story. Like someone was just selling stuff like that, and then they're like, "Oh, let's just make a Tales from the Crypt comic out of it." So that's interesting.
Oh, right. Yeah. And you're making money off of the so causing a problem for $1 and then solving that problem for $1,000. Oh, how fun is that? And we have some comments from some I'm going to call them heavy hitters. I'm going to call these people heavy hitters in the Cryptique community. These are people that we've been hearing from quite a bit and from early on. So Joseph Hill, we see you out there. You're commenting on the season 2 ranking. You say, I like the tier list as a good way to wrap up the season and recap some of your thoughts and opinions. Yeah, thank you for that feedback, by the way. I liked it too. I like the way that worked out. Mm-hmm. He says, it works a little better than the numbered rankings since there were more than double the episodes of season 1. Season 3 should be a lot of fun. Some of my favorites are in this season. So good. Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to watching some of these good ones. We've already had a few good ones, Godden, haven't we?
Yeah, this might be the only one where like Actually, this 2 is the one you're kind of iffy about, but yeah, so far we have a good traction for the quality of the episodes here.
Yeah. Even the bad ones, they're watchable and they're fine. Number 2, season 2 had some offensively bad episodes.
Offensively bad. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
this season, I really like this season so far. And E-Chair, we hear back from E-Chair. He writes regarding The Trap. He says, I was looking forward to your review of this episode. I like the way they emphasize Lou being electrocuted. E-Chair, of course you do. Of course you do, E-Chair. Remember, E-Chair was the one who gave us all kinds of back information on that the man who was death about the electric chair. He says, of course, Niles' electrocution scene is better, though. He says, by the way, biased. I looked into the electric chair that appeared this time, but it wasn't the same one Niles sat on. It would be interesting if it were connected as part of the Crypt universe. With how many times the electric chair and capital punishment in particular are brought up on Tales from the Crypt, I'm surprised that they don't have more Niles. That could be a great reoccurring character. Remember that bartender showed up a couple of times.
That's true. He did show up a couple of times. So why not Niles? Why not grab the old characters?
If they ever brought back Tales from the Crypt, I would want something like that. I would want some sort of reoccurring character in the universe to kind of, not necessarily to tie all the stories together, but just to kind of be like an anchor person. You know what I mean? Like familiar face, someone to look forward to seeing every episode. Almost like how Stephen King casts himself in all of his movies. So if you're watching a Stephen King movie, it's always kind of fun to look for him as a character, you know?
I've seen Stan Lee show up in his movies.
Oh yeah.
Not Stephen King.
Yeah. Stan Lee does something similar where he plays a role.
He's always Stan Lee, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I would like to see that going forward in Tales from the Crypt. That would be a lot of fun to see a recurring character. And it can be, as simple as just the same bartender or Niles pulling that switch every single time there's a capital punishment scene. So that'd be a lot of fun. All right. Well, hey, thank you everybody who commented. Keep commenting. I'm telling you, it's so much fun to have this discussion. This correspondent section at the end of our podcast is one of my favorite parts to really start to interact with the people out there. Godden, did you have anything you wanted to say to our friends out there in the YouTubeverse?
Well, I hope you just keep tuning in, especially with season 3 taking its traction. I can't wait to see what kind of newcomers we bring in and the heavy hitters as well. I do miss the heavy hitters. There was a portion where we haven't seen them in a while, so I'm glad to see that they're still here, realistically.
Yeah. So if you're watching and you haven't commented yet, just don't, leave a little emoji down below, right? Leave a little emoji just to let us know that you're here, that you're listening, and that you're enjoying the show. So I'll just say that much. And before we go, I do want to give some shout outs. I've already given a shout out to Crypt Keepers podcast. Now they're only available on Spotify, so you'll have to go there to check them out. Creeps of the Crypt, on the other hand, Creeps of the Crypt is another podcast that I listen to who talk about the Tales from the Crypt episodes. They are a very similar format to Godden and I, where they just, a couple of dudes hanging out, talking about the Tales from the Crypt. They have a lot of fun perspectives when they go through the episode. So I definitely enjoy their take. So check them out. And if you go check them out, actually let them know that Cryptique sent you there to check them out. That'd be a lot of fun to kind of maybe get some back and forth going that way too. I've actually been chatting with the fellas at Creeps of the Crypt a little bit, and it's fun. It's fun having that back and forth. So if we can get you guys in the comments also going back and forth with them, that'd be a lot of fun. Haddonfield Radio is still one of my favorite podcasts. They're also available on YouTube as well as Spotify, but they do full-length commentaries of some of the best horror franchises. We're talking the Friday the 13th, the Halloweens, the Nightmare on Elm Street. They release their episodes monthly, so they're pretty, actually, if you really go at it like I did, I'm a podcastaholic. I actually got through all of their episodes, so I'm actually up to date with them. So I'm still waiting for them to release. They just did They finished up the Friday the 13th franchise, and they just did the Friday the 13th fan-made movies. Jason in the Forest. I forget what it's called. Never Hike Alone. They did those episodes. So I'm still waiting for the new episode, whatever that's going to be. So check them out if you get a chance. Return, Revenge, Resurrection. I know I feel like I'm kind of rambling at this point, but they're another podcast that I really want to give a shout out to. They're just a group of friends who get together and they talk about some of the great horror franchises as well. They do a lot more than Haddonfield. They have a lot more episodes of different horror franchises. I just skipped right to the Halloween and the Friday the 13th. Those are my favorite horror franchises. Everything else can wait. Okay, I'll get to those later. For now, I just want to go right to the main course. And there's us, the Cryptique podcast. My name's Kenny. If you like what we have to offer, if you don't mind the sound of my awful voice going on and on, check me out on Too Bad About Kenny. That's the number 2 Bad About Kenny, as well as TOO Bad About Kenny. I review video games. No, I play video games. I review movies and books. Check out those channels. Godden, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me streaming on Twitch, UAPPO6, and currently still streaming some of the horror games I played with Silent Hill F, and our Twitter at the Cryptikers. It's for any updates or any future updates about upcoming episodes or engagements with you guys to have your guys's feedback, or maybe when we do our rankings, we can see your rankings as well, and we can do like a comparison and see, oh, look who sided with us, and look who had a different perspective on some of these episodes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that too. If you're interested in doing rankings with us, our season 2 ranking is still on the tier maker list, or the tier list maker, whatever that website's called. Go to the episode season 2 ranking video, and there's a link below where you can actually participate in the ranking as well. So if you want to rank them as well, click on that link and have some fun with that. And then send us your ranking. Let us know how it did. What made your top 5, and also what made your bottom 5. That's kind of fun to know what your favorites and worsts are. All right, kiddies. If you are following along with us here at Cryptique, then before next week, you want to watch Season 3, Episode 6, Dead Weight. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. Until then, have fun, stay safe, and watch some scary stuff, kiddies.
Well, how was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?